Hello and welcome to Geek at Play Studio Tutorials. In this tutorial we'll look a little bit more in depth of different type of lighting. We did use them before. We used directional lights, we used spotlight and point light. In this case, let's go look on the properties and see what else we have there and what properties do they have. So in your left side navigation, right here we have a group with showing like a light bulb with small arrow. If you right click with your mouse, you can expand menu and see on all different type of lighting. So we have a point light, quadric point light, spotlights, we have a direction light, and we have a light panel. So let's go begin with selecting the point light. This is normal point light, which is distributed light. You can see in every directions. And okay, let me do this way. Let's go to atmosphere loaded right now, and we'll go ahead loaded our dark one that we created before. Okay, so right here we have our point light. Let's take our camera, move a little bit above. Okay, and we go ahead render to screen. And then right now, if you look, this is point light which is shining. It's not big different when you look in this way. But again, when we start placing objects around, maybe above, side below, so you will notice it shine in every direction. So it shine on the bottom and shine on the top. The next one also, okay, let's go to delete this light. Let's go create Quadric light. The different is in this lighting. Okay, the different is in this lighting spotlight and point light compared to other one. It's actually dimmer faster. It's lighting light disappearing much faster, and you can notice right here it's become darker with distance. So if we take it, let's take this orb right here. Let's decrease a little bit in size so we can place more of them. We placed one below, so you can see how faster light dissipating on this compare if we're going to go ahead. And you know what, one thing we can do, we can go ahead inside the lighting and switch this to an array. It's another way so you can customize them. In that case, you can see they're much brighter, light distributing longer, so the dimming properties is a little bit different on this. Okay, so like here we have Quadric. Let's delete this light. Let's go create now the spotlight. Okay, and now we render, we see the lights going in this direction. So it's almost like your flashlight you're using. So the no lights, no object, no those spheres they have it on a back, they are not light up because they're out of this cone. Again, if we go ahead and let me right here those lights. If we go ahead and make a spread wider so we can cover those cones, now you can see it, they are in a circle. So the one way you can actually customize with spotlight, you have it your spread, it's an angle, how wide is angle is covered. By modifying this, you can adjust what area will be lighting with this. Okay, let's go ahead and delete our spotlight now, and we go to create Quadric. It's the same as before, is only light is being faster. Let's create directional, and you notice when we create directional light, it's look like a sunlight, and we did that before in our one settings. We created sun by only selecting sunlight and copy paste. Is actually what it is. A sunlight is our directional light, and directional, it will apply in one direction. It's not like a point light in every direction. But another case is it is not like the spotlight, which doesn't have a cone. It just apply from every point in one direction, and that one is actually very useful. One thing, because when you want to highlight all area, one thing you need to know what is different between sunlight. Let's take sunlight and put it up front. So let's go right here. Well, actually better if we just load atmosphere. Okay, select this light. We'll put light right here up front. Okay, you can see sunlight right here. This is our sun. So if we take our directional light and we'll put right on the other side right here, it does not produce our point of sun, so it's kind of producing light but it's not visible. And this is very nice and useful lights if you want to, for example, highlight, make your sun set, and at the same time you don't want very hard kind of front lighting, so you can have a nice looking sun with the lighting. Except now we start having problem with the shadows, and that is very easy to actually fix. But right now we won't look on this. Right now we're just looking on what type of lights we have. Okay, so this is our directional lights. Let's hide our sunlight for now. We'll go to create now panel. What this panel is, it is where light emit from every point of the surface, the square. So we can modify, you can stretch, make it rectangle, so if you need it. But again, this is just like the panel which produce light from every point on this one. In some case, think about this, it is a flat rectangle of the area light. So for example, if we go to the sphere and we convert this to area light, it's what it is, a light panel, it is area light. So in the same things how we look before, you can see the graininess from this. It will apply all the same kind of problems with this, but again, you can fix it in the same way by going to the shadows and increase smoothness of the shadows. So let's go right now create just a point of light. We'll put right here. And in point light, what I want to go ahead and look on the some properties with what we have in our selection, our tabs. So we'll go ahead and right click and edit lens flare. So the one thing you will notice before we applied, it was invisible. So if we don't have it lens flare, your object, your lights will produce the light from this point, but we cannot actually see the light by itself. So it become kind of invisible to our camera. Lens flare, on this case, it will become visible, so we can see the source it's coming from. And that is very nice option when we create it in some tutorials for like magical bugs, or want to fire bugs, or some other ways when you want to see the source of the light. The lens flare is very helpful for this. The rings will produce around the lights. Also reflection, that is will be like on a lens flare coming on your camera. So let's go select like 35. Let's click OK, and I want to move this just slightly so we can see the better lens flare. And right here you can see this is circles. It's what produced by lens flare. That one you can easy to customize if you want it. So we can go ahead, select it, custom lenses. So in this one actually provide a quite a bit large selection of the what type you want to use it and what position you want to use it. So you can increase the blades, you can increase different type of the lenses and reflection. Okay, and this way it's actually take almost one full tutorial, and we'll go probably after and see what type of the lens reflection and how we can set up this. Okay, this is our general settings on the flare intensity, how bright or dim you want, rotation. Anamorphism will allow you to create a little bit stretching. Again, the blue strikes will add a strike on the middle. This is very self-explanatory. The couple of things I want to point here, it is when you create the random strikes, this is actually will make nice flares going, and that is a very interesting effect. You can use it. Okay, let me render this. You can see right here the strikes. So when you create some space scenery or other ways, this is this magical look to our lights. Okay, let's go and Also, by accessing these properties, you have other tabs. You can access them directly from your menus, or right click and edit object will edit all of them. So let's go right now disable length, and we'll go to the gel. The gel one is producing, it's kind of custom shadows, how the light will distribute. So let's go ahead, load it one gel. And if you notice, sometimes we have our light gels, or it's come with preset, or what it is, it's kind of masking. And masking can apply by the color or just simple black and white. So let's create black and white, click OK. And if we preview, you can, let me review again, right here, you can see how it's applied the shadows almost from the lights. And you can specify if you want to go in all directions or just one direction. Let's go back, edit gel. Okay, so here is our gel. Volumetric. It is almost highlight in a, what it does, it's not just highlight the object, it's also producing the emission of the light, so we can see how light is diffused. So let's go right now, actually better if we switch to Quadric, and you can see the difference. Okay, let's go also just decrease power. So in that case, you can see, we can see emission of the light, how it's distributing. The volumetric light is at this effect when we start creating inside the cave or in a forest, or actually similar things what has happened when you do God rays. But because you can see emission of the light, but the one thing we draw with this is take a longer time to render, and also you start having grayness. And remove this grayness, you need to go and increase softness of the shadows and quality of the render, which increase the time. So all of this effect, this is will affecting how long it's take to render. Okay, also let's go edit. And one other option right here, one point in volumetric, it is beside the intensity and the quality. If you needed less grayness, we have it one checkbox called show smoke and dust. What it does, it's loading the filter which apply in 3-dimensional to the emission of the light. So what is happening when we create this, and we'll just let's increase a little bit higher, you will notice right now we start having all the spots inside our lights. It's more look like a scrolling fog or other things. Again, that is another option with increased time, but it's produce very realistic looking lights. And the best way to see this, if we create a spotlight, let's move right here. Okay, increase just a little bit on the spread. So when we have emission, you can definitely see the cone coming. Okay, let's go to edit. Let's go enable smoke. So in that case, you can see it is have a very realistic looking curve inside with the dust. Okay, let's go ahead, edit volumetric now, and disable our lights. We'll go to our shadows. Shadows, it's what we're using a lot when we start working with our scenery. And however, right now we have it very hard shadows right here. Few ways you can make it softer edge. One way by using soft shadow maps. Okay, and this one will creating nicer. Okay, let me go ahead and point lights a little bit better. Okay, the edges of the shadows will produce nicer, more realistic. The subray will go around and calculating what is bending and reflections right here. So the other things you can do, okay, edit shadows. If you don't want use maps and other things, you can go ahead and increase softness or fallout here. And by doing this, you can see fallout, it will increase right in these edges. Again, right now we're in preview mode, so you have a little bit dirty. So let's go ahead, select on final. And you can see with this, we can simulate in a, just create a one fallout right here. So it will make softer edges. However, the quality on other ones was much better. Okay, so let's go back. we'll look on some shadows, and we'll look more on details in each project when we start working. The lighting, one way we can select from the right click and select what type you want, the linear or a quadric, or you can do here inside the lightings. You also can select and create your own custom fallout. So okay, let's select this one. In that case, you can preview how it happened. Also, we'll have it variable colors. So let's go ahead and load it colorful so we can preview. Also, just change this one. In that case, you can see the light is changed with distance. So closer to this, we have it one color, and we have it red far away. And sometimes when we adjust, look this one maybe. Here you can see even better how the color is changed. So the closer we have it, the yellow, and with the distance, color is changed that apply to the parent we applied with variable colors. So this will be our closest to the light source, and this will be far away. We also can set what is cut off or how far it can go by setting distance. You can also modify, and in some ways it's actually when you start creating like dark night lights, that is very useful, because what you can do, you can create very yellow bright right here and reddish going more dissipation to the end. So in that case, the lights will look very real distribution. Okay, next thing is what I want to look, it is influence. And influence is actually we're using quite a bit in our project. It's meaning when you can select your light, you can go inside and set what you want these lights to affect. Example, let's go says I want to select only object that marked below, and I just select this sphere. So let's go click OK. And at time when we render, we notice these lights that every object will ignore lights except one which we selected. On that case, if you want just highlight one specific object, bring out of the background or some other ways, this is a nice way to do it. Same as that can be applied to any other one, spotlight, point light, or area light. You can do it the same way. So just have it which one object or surface will influence. As well, if you go in influence, you can notice you can do all object, you can exclusively, inclusively, all object or not at all. As well, we have some diffusions, but those ones will look a little bit later. Okay, and I want to show actually finish on few more things we have it right in our edit. One, we have the color. This is change the overall settings color for your light. Softness, it's what degree softness, how it's bending around object. Spread, we used this before, it's angle for the light. Fallout, it's on the edges, it's what is how much it will take it for between edges. Another one, power, it's simple, you can increase how much energy it will produce. You also can just type in value. Also in some cases you can go to negative, like on a point lights, and negative lights is actually creating it will spread darkest, so it will remove some rays. As well, we have a couple options on the bottom, and one is most important, it's they look like a cloud. So by enable this one, you want these lights to influence the atmosphere clouds. Let's go very fast, create one cloud. Just bring it closer. Okay, we'll delete all objects we don't need it. We'll go ahead, load it something darker. So at this point we have it here cloud very dark. So if we go create maybe just normal point light, put it inside, increase, and you will notice that this one at the point will render only influence the ground. It won't influence our cloud at all. Here's an example. So we have it influence only right here. By enabling this, you can notice now that our lights is affecting the cloud as well. So in this example, you can see our lights now it's visible not because we added lens flare, so it's visible by light affecting the volumetric material, the cloud inside. And again, we will use this one in our other project to display how we can bring more color inside our clouds. Again, don't worry if you don't remember all options we'll just look at. This is very overview over the what lights, what options they have it, and other projects will start going more deeper in using different of the options for the best visual performance for our work. Thank you for watching this tutorial from Geek at Play Studio. Please come visit us on the web is www.geekatplay.com.